Champion jumps ship. Imagine Lionel Messi scoring a hat trick for Barcelona on Sunday, then walking into Real Madrid's locker room on Monday. That's basically what Juan Manuel Fangio pulled in 1954. Here's the setup. The sport was only 4 years old. Fangio, already an F1 champion, starts the season racing for Maserati in their beautiful red 250F. He wins his home race in Argentina, sits out Monaco, then grabs another win in Belgium. 2 victories, clear lead in the championship, life's good. But here's the twist. Mercedes had secretly been working on their revolutionary silver car, the W196. They invite Fangio to a private test at the Nürburgring, where the stopwatch reveals something shocking. He's instantly 2 seconds faster per lap. Mercedes slide a contract across the table. It's big money, but more importantly, a chance to make history. Mercedes' first world title since the 1930s. Fast forward to July 4th, the French Grand Prix at Reims. Fangio shows up dressed head to toe in silver. The Maserati garage is stunned, betrayed, like watching your best friend join the enemy. Fangio jumps in the Mercedes, rockets past the Ferraris, sets the fastest lap, and wins by half a minute. No apology, no looking back. The rest of the season, Fangio hops between teams like a hired gun, Mercedes for fast tracks, Maserati for tighter, twisty circuits that Mercedes fears will break their delicate engines. By the end of the year, he racks up 6 total wins between 2 teams and easily takes the world championship, something no driver has repeated since. Maserati feels double-crossed. The Italian press brands him Il Traditore, the traitor. Fangio shrugs them off, famously saying, "I race to win, not to make friends." The FIA swiftly changes the rules, banning mid-season team switching from 1955 onward. Too late. Fangio had already written history, and no rule change could erase that. Red divorce. You almost burned to death for Ferrari, come back 6 weeks later, and they still label you a traitor. It's August 1st, 1976, Nürburgring, Germany. Niki Lauda's Ferrari crashes violently and bursts into flames. He survives barely, face badly burned, lungs scarred. In hospital, he shocks everyone, telling doctors, "Patch me up, I have a championship to win." Just 39 days later, he's racing again at Monza. Blood soaking through fresh bandages, eyes swollen nearly shut. Somehow he finishes 4th, keeping his championship hopes alive. The fans call him a hero, the world praises his courage. But Ferrari's support has cracks. At the season finale in Japan, torrential rain turns Fuji Speedway into a nightmare. Lauda, unable to see past his steering wheel, makes a life-changing choice after just 2 laps. He pulls into the pits saying, "My life is worth more than a championship." James Hunt stays out, finishes 3rd, and snatches the title by a single point. Ferrari boss Enzo Ferrari doesn't see courage. He sees betrayal. Behind closed doors, he labels Lauda Il Traditore, the traitor who gifted McLaren the title. The next year, Ferrari quietly signs Carlos Reutemann as a backup, without telling Lauda. The message is loud and clear. Loyalty runs in one direction only. Lauda, feeling stabbed in the back, fights through the tension and incredibly still wins the 1977 World Championship. But right after clinching the title, Lauda hands back his Ferrari cap, walks out of Maranello, and signs a massive deal with Bernie Ecclestone's Brabham team. Ferrari doesn't lose their greatest champion to another accident. They lose him because pride overshadowed loyalty. Secret Senna switch. What's colder than overtaking your teammate at 200 miles per hour, signing for his rivals in a secret hotel meeting, while your own garage is still celebrating? It's the summer of '87. Ayrton Senna is Lotus's superstar. The iconic yellow Lotus Honda 99T brings in camel millions, earns him poles and wins, but not championships. Senna senses time slipping away, his car plateauing and his patience thinning. Monaco Grand Prix weekend, 1 a.m. at the Lowe's Hotel. No lawyers, no agents. Just Senna, Ron Dennis, and a blank McLaren contract. Dennis lays it out plainly. McLaren has secured Honda engines for '88. Senna knows this is his golden ticket, Honda power and championship glory. Senna makes 2 demands, matching Marlboro sponsorship money with teammate Alain Prost, and if Prost leaves, Senna chooses the new teammate. Dennis smiles, nods, and they shake hands. The hotel CCTV quietly timestamps history, 1:43. Senna walks back to Lotus as if nothing happened. Months pass in silence. Then, on September 14th, Honda's boss announces in a Tokyo press conference that they're leaving Lotus. "We follow our champion," he says casually to stunned journalists. Lotus principal Peter Warr learns of Senna's betrayal from a payphone call with a Japanese reporter. Sponsors panic. Lotus scrambles into the '88 season powered by underwhelming Judd Vi-8 engines. Their glory days permanently over. 1988, first season at McLaren Honda, 16 races, 15 victories. At Suzuka, Senna becomes world champion. Lotus finishes the year 8th, 0 wins. A late-night handshake in Monaco has rewritten a decade of Formula One history. Was it ruthless betrayal or strategic brilliance? That's yours to decide. Williams power play. How do you fire a fresh world champion and still walk away with 2 titles? Just ask Frank Williams. In 1992, Nigel Mansell and the Williams FW14B completely dominated Formula One. 9 wins, the championship clinched with 5 races left. Riding high, Mansell walked into contract talks demanding Ferrari-level money to stay. Frank Williams countered with a much lower offer and pushed for a 2-year lock-in. Mansell stormed out of talks, calling the offer an insult, and announced his departure to the press during the Monza weekend. Meanwhile, Alain Prost was quietly plotting his comeback after a toxic split from Ferrari. During his year off, he charmed Renault's executives, pitching himself as the perfect PR-friendly, drama-free #1 driver. In a meeting with Williams, he secured a 1-year deal with one crucial clause: no Ayrton Senna as teammate in 1993. Frank signed the deal, Renault was thrilled, and Mansell only found out at Monza when a journalist handed him a fax. Feeling double-crossed, he quit Formula One on the spot and called IndyCar's Newman Hayes that same night. Prost stepped into the FW15C and delivered as promised: 7 wins, a record-breaking 4th world title, and a calm garage. Meanwhile, Senna, stranded at McLaren with a Ford V8, somehow dragged 5 wins out of the car but never stood a chance at the championship. Every interview ended with the same bitter line: "If I had that Williams." By October 1993, Prost's no Senna clause expired at midnight Japanese time. The next morning, he announced his retirement. Mission accomplished. Within days, Senna signed for Williams, taking the seat Prost had kept from him. Mansell briefly returned for 2 cameo races that nobody even remembers. In just 18 months, Williams claimed back-to-back constructors' titles, cycled through 3 world champions, and rewrote the playbook on ruthless contract clauses. Brutal? Absolutely. Effective? Just check the trophy cabinet. Rubens' move. How do you turn a perfect 1-2 finish into the loudest boo Ferrari has ever heard? Spielberg, 2002. Ferrari's F2002 is so dominant it feels unfair. Michael Schumacher already leads the championship by 21 points. But this weekend belongs to Rubens Barrichello. He's fastest in every session, takes pole, controls the race from the lights. With just 500 meters left, he's finally about to break his winless streak. But then comes the radio. First, it's strategist Luca Baldessari. "Rubens, it's important for the championship." Barrichello snaps back, "I already told you my position." Then Jean Todt cuts in, his tone ice cold. "Rubens, let Michael pass. Do it now." Silence. Then, on the straight before the finish line, Barrichello visibly lifts off, even taps the brake. Schumacher crosses ahead by just 0.182 seconds. The grandstands erupt in boos, even the die-hard Tifosi whistle. Commentators can barely believe it. That was choreography, not racing. On the podium, it gets even worse. Schumacher awkwardly pulls Rubens onto the top step, shoves the winner's trophy into his hands. FIA steward Paul Stoddart calls it an insult to every fan watching. 4 days later, the FIA fines Ferrari, Schumacher, and Barrichello a combined $1 million for bringing the sport into disrepute. Team orders are officially banned on the radio starting in 2003, a ban that quietly disappears 7 years later. But the damage is done. Rubens never escapes the #2 label. Schumacher wins his 5th title anyway, and Austrian team orders becomes motorsport slang for corporate betrayal everyone can see. Button contract chaos. How to ghost your future boss, then pay him 8-figure hush money. In 2004, Jenson Button is Britain's hottest prospect at Bar Honda. Podiums, pace, promise. Secretly, he inks a £60 million, 3-year deal with Williams for 2005, betting on their BMW engines and title pedigree. Problem is, his Bar contract only lets him leave if Honda quits F1. Honda immediately faxes back, "We're staying." Emergency hearing at the FIA's Contract Recognition Board confirms it. Button stays at Bar, Williams fumes, and a PR coup vanishes in an afternoon. A year later, deja vu hits. Bar morphs into factory Honda for 2006, promising glory, but Button panics at the thought of another slow car. He signs yet another Williams contract, only to walk away before driving a single lap. Sir Frank Williams slams a £24 million breach notice on him. After marathon talks, they settle on £18 million. Button wires the cash, issues a statement about long-term vision, and returns to his Honda seat. Blueprint heist. What happens when Formula One turns into Mission Impossible and gets busted at the copy shop? Spring 2007, Ferrari's paddock is buzzing with a rumor too wild to ignore. Someone's leaked every secret blueprint. Disgruntled mechanic Nigel Stepney feels frozen out after a team shakeup and walks away with a 780-page dossier. Gearbox specs, fuel mix tables, even wind tunnel schedules. He hands it to old friend Mike Coughlin, McLaren's chief designer, swearing confidentiality. But mission Steal Ferrari Secrets hits a glitch. Coughlin's wife drops off those red-stamped pages at a little copy shop in Surrey. The clerk, spotting Ferrari everywhere, rings up Ferrari's UK office within hours. Suddenly, lawyers from Maranello are pounding on McLaren's door. In July, the FIA tribunal convenes. Ron Dennis swears no one at Woking used the papers, but Max Mosley waves the dossier like evidence in a spy thriller. Fernando Alonso's name surfaces in the chaos too. To avoid punishment, he cooperates with the FIA by handing over incriminating emails proving McLaren's use of Ferrari data. On 13 September 2007, the verdict lands harder than a failed pit stop. A $100 million fine, the biggest ever in sporting history, and McLaren is stripped of all constructors' points. Hamilton and Alonso keep their trophies, but the team's glory is gone. Coughlin and Stepney are suspended, disappearing into sports car obscurity. Spygate becomes shorthand for industrial espionage. Every photocopier near an F1 factory now has a direct line to the FIA, and Rule 2.3 brands unauthorized data sharing as sport-destroying behavior. Crash for victory. Ever wondered what would happen if Ocean's 11 ran a Formula One team? Welcome to Singapore 2008, where the heist was on track. It's the inaugural night race in Singapore 2008, and Renault are dead last in the standings. Fernando Alonso stalls the hopes of a miracle by qualifying P15, with rookie Nelson Piquet Jr. right behind in P16. Winning seems impossible unless you break every rule in the book. According to later testimony, engineering chief Pat Simons and team principal Flavio Briatore pull Piquet aside before the race. They outline the perfect plan. Lap 14, turn 17, floor it, crash into the wall. The resulting safety car will bunch up the field. Alonso, who pitted early under the guise of a routine stop, will leapfrog everyone and inherit the lead. Piquet hesitates. This is for the good of the team? They nod. He agrees to the stunt. Race day, lap 14. Alonso has just come back from his mysterious pit stop. 2 laps later, Piquet hits turn 17 full throttle no brakes, slamming his Renault into the barriers. The debris brings out the safety car. Drivers swarm into the pits. Half the grid is caught behind the closed pit exit. When the dust settles, Alonso is suddenly first. He cruises to an improbable victory from P15. It's the kind of cinematic twist you only see in Hollywood. 1 year later, Piquet blows the lid off the conspiracy with a sworn affidavit to the FIA. Emails, telemetry logs, and radio transcripts confirm the plot. In September 2009, the tribunal imposes harsh penalties. Briatore gets a lifetime ban, later overturned on appeal. Simons is suspended for 5 years, and Renault receive a 2-year suspended ban. Alonso's win stands. FIA insists he was in the dark, but that iconic podium photo now reeks of evidence. Multi-2-1. When the radio code for hold position morphs into hold my drink, you know team orders just went out the window. It's a soggy morning at Sepang, round 2 of 2013. Red Bull has locked out the front row. Mark Webber leads and Sebastian Vettel sits P2. On lap 44, Rocky, Vettel's race engineer, delivers the encrypted call, multi-2-1 Seb. That means car 2 stays ahead of car 1, no passing. Webber obediently dials his engine back, coasting to conserve rubber and preserve the 1-2 finish. But Sebastian smells an opening. 3 corners later, he flips back to the aggressive engine map, locks eyes on turn 4, and dives inside Webber at 310 km per hour, sidepod brushing sidepod. It's 2 laps of elbows-out sprint racing, and at turn 9, Vettel squeezes through. The radio erupts. Webber, multi-2-1 Seb. Multi-2-1. Horner, come on Seb. This is silly. Vettel stays silent. He's P1. On the podium, the tension is ice cold. Webber offers a stiff-armed handshake. Helmut Marko later calls it pure racing instinct. Vettel mumbles, "Sorry, Mark, I was faster." But the apology evaporates by the next headline. Instead of a warm team celebration, Red Bull engineers exchange awkward glances. There's no penalty, but the fallout is real. Webber bolts for Porsche in 2014, seeking fresh challenges. Vettel cruises to his 4th title, forever tagged with multi-2-1 by fans who know exactly what happened. Courtroom gridlock. Nothing says welcome to the new season like rolling into the paddock with a court order in your pocket. In July 2014, Dutch pay driver Guido van der Garde pens a race seat deal with Sauber for 2015, wiring in about €8 million of sponsorship cash and practicing selfies in the C34 cockpit. Come winter, Sauber, drowning in debt, quietly inks Marcus Ericsson backed by Swedish telecom money, and Felipe Nasr riding a wave of Banco do Brasil cash. 2 seats, same car, same weekends. Van der Garde learns via Autosport. Not a word from Sauber. By the Australian GP week, he's had enough. He sues in Swiss arbitration, wins, then jets to Melbourne, and bags an emergency injunction from the Victorian Supreme Court. Sauber must let him drive FP1, qualifying, and the race. Suddenly, bailiffs are eyeing the garage door. Sauber cries safety concerns. Team boss Manisha Kaltenborn threatens to withdraw both cars. Bernie Ecclestone leans in. Fix it or don't even come out of the pits. Saturday morning, fueled by ticker tape drama, a settlement is struck. Van der Garde walks away. No race seat, but a $16 million payoff, wired straight to his Dutch bank. Ericsson and Nasr stay put on track. Sponsors bail. Kaltenborn's reputation is in tatters. By 2016, Sauber is sold to Longbow Finance. Clone car scandal. Rule number 1 of plagiarism. Never park the original next to your copy on the grid. Winter testing, Barcelona 2020. Racing Point rolls out the RP20 in bubblegum pink, and every engineer squints. Is that a Mercedes W10? By lunchtime, the paddock is calling it the Pink Mercedes. Fast forward to post-Styrian GP. Photos emerge, brake duct inlets, vanes, cooling fins, all match the 2019 Silver Arrow pixel for pixel. Renault lodges a formal protest under Appendix 6. Listed parts must be designed and manufactured in-house. Suddenly, Racing Point's victory parade looks like a photocopy marathon. Enter FIACSI. Investigators seize CAD files and email chains revealing Mercedes handed over 3D data during a 2019 evaluation exercise. Racing Point protests, "We only took inspiration, but FIA isn't buying it." On race day, the verdict hits harder than a late-breaking overtake. 15 points stripped from their constructors' tally and a €400,000 fine. Yet the RP20 stays on track unchanged. Cue howls from Renault and Ferrari. Penalty or not, Lance Stroll storms to a Monza podium, Sergio Perez wins at Sakir, and Racing Point still clinch fourth in the championship. Copy, cash, celebrate. Tweeted no, the first F1 driver ever to dump his team with a tweet. On the 1st of August 2022, the paddock is dragging itself through the summer break when Fernando Alonso drops a bombshell. He's signed for Aston Martin. Minutes later, Alpine's PR hammers out a panic press release. Oscar Piastri will drive for us in 2023. At that very moment, the Australian rookie is halfway to Melbourne, phone off and blissfully unaware. 6 hours after landing, Piastri fires up Twitter, "I will not be driving for Alpine next year." Alpine's PR team watches their blue screen nightmare unfold. Lawyers sprint onto the scene, hauling both sides to London's FIA Contract Recognition Board. 4 silks, 200 pages of documents, and a whiteboard tracing every pen stroke. November 2021, McLaren inks Piastri as reserve driver, with option for 2023. May 2022, Piastri signs a race seat deal with McLaren. Zach Brown puts pen to paper. July 2022, Alpine emails a draft contract. Piastri never signs. On the 2nd of September, the verdict drops like a gavel, 100% McLaren's way. Alpine's claim was never a valid contract. No payouts, only legal fees, and a bruised reputation. Alpine boss Otmar Safnauer calls it disappointing, while Twitter crowns it the savage rookie move. Sir turns red. Sir turns red. You can be here for 20 more years, 30 more years. I can't. In September 2023, Lewis Hamilton quietly inks a contract extension with Mercedes through 2025. Tucked away on page 14 is a razor-sharp exit clause. He may walk away before 31st January 2024, no questions asked. Outside the boardroom, barely a soul notices. Fast forward to 22nd January 2025, Hamilton made his first appearance in Ferrari red during a private test at Fiorano. The sight of him in scarlet overalls sent shockwaves through the paddock and ignited social media. At the Autosport Awards in London, Toto Wolff sees the first red and white images and text, Hamilton one word. Iconic. He later quips, "It's a little bit like you divorce amicably and it's all good. Then you see your partner for the first time with a new friend. Why the shock switch?" Mercedes have been winless since the 2022 ground effects reset. Ferrari dangled a rumored €55 million base salary plus a lifetime ambassador role. Hamilton, chasing an 8th title before the new 2026 regs rewrite the rulebook, admits, "I can't wait 20 years." Hamilton becomes the first driver in Formula One history to walk away after 12 seasons and 82 wins, yet still get a goodbye cake at Brackley. Betrayal or evolution. Either way, the grid now bleeds bright red. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more deep dives into Formula One history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.